changes of animals above described have been produced, would it be too bold that in the great length of time since the Earth began to exist, perhaps millions or millions of ages before the commencement of the history of mankind, would it be so bold to imagine that all warm-blooded animals have arisen from one living filament, a cell, which the great first course endued with animality, with the power of acquiring new parts attended with new propensities, directed by irritation, sensations, volitions, and associations, and thus possessing the faculty of continuing to improve by its own inherent activity of delivering down those improvements by generation of its prosperity, world without end. And so there, for me, that seems to be a pretty complete theory of evolution. It's talking about handing down new parts, developing new functionalities, and common descent. It's surprising to me that Dawkins could say that it was really Childs who came up with this full theory from beginning to end, when so much of it is in his grandfather's writings. Now, I presented a talk like this on the web, and I had some criticisms coming in from atheists, and they said, well, what you're writing is nonsense here, because though Charles Darwin came up with a theory of evolution independently, another guy called Alfred Russel Wallace came up with the same theory. And so even if you prove all the way down that there's this spiritual link between evolution and paganism, your argument falls down because this guy, Alfred Russel Wallace, came up with it on his own. But doing a bit of research, I found out that Russel Wallace was himself a spiritualist medium. And when you look on the Natural History website, it's got a certificate saying that. It says, Central Association of Spiritualists, this is to certify that Alfred Russel Wallace has been elected an honorary member of the association. So he was clearly involved in kind of occultic spiritual practices. Now, we're going to look at today, and I'm making the case that where you find evolution, you also tend to find paganism, that these two ideas go together. And so this is Edinburgh, you can see the crags there, and this exhibition is called the Our Dynamic Earth exhibition. It's an exhibition built with Millennium Project money to really show kids the beauty of evolution and the Big Bang. But when we look at this building, we see kind of a stone circle around the outside of it, female fertility symbol built as a sculpture there. The Mother Earth written on the outside of the building, the Mother Earth being the pagan goddess Gaia, who gave birth to the pantheon of pagan gods. When you go into the bookshop in this scientific exhibition, you find, alongside books on evolution, books on ghost stories and feng shui, meditation, reflexology, tarot, yoga, and Chinese astrology. In the music section, you'll find CDs on Celtic spirituality, Native American ancestor kind of worship, Tibetan Buddhism, Reiki, again meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, and angels. Again, really delving in to the spiritual realm, and yet this is put forward as a scientific exhibition. Walking up and down the Royal Mile, you'll probably find often we have these New Age events on, and here, rather than Edinburgh becoming a centre of what you'd expect it to be, a rational centre after the evolution, but there's, I would say it's probably a centre for superstition at the moment. So here you've got past life readings, tea leaf readings, crystal ball, angel and fairy card readings. This is again taking place in the Freemason lodges, where the Enlightenment kind of broke out. There's a medium in the meeting, and again, this is all the different kind of Eastern spiritual practices. And I'm sure if you walk down probably any street in any city or town now, you'll find that there are many of these practices which really find their way back into Indian and Eastern kind of philosophy and spiritual practice, and you'll find that they're incredibly popular in our society today. And I'd make the case that it's because we've embraced evolution that we've also embraced these other things. Then we've got the rise of witchcraft, and you probably find many witchcraft shops as you go up and down the Royal Mile and walk throughout Edinburgh. Another occult supplier kind of sell lots of interesting things. I saw their website, and I think I saw some flying potion on there. I don't know what it does, but it seems to sell it. And tours going underground, 6, 7 or 8 ghost tours going into the underground city, and also active witchcraft temples in these places. I'm a Christian, and I've been in meetings where people have experienced physical healing, and one of the things they've said is when they've prayed for physical healing, they'll experience a warmth travelling up their hands or their arms when they're prayed for, and they'll experience a peace and a joy. Now, I've read the boards outside these witchcraft kind of tours, and I read the exact opposite. People say, after I went into this place, I had scratches and bite marks, and I felt anxiety for days and weeks afterwards. I felt a chill going down my spine. I found it very interesting that these phenomena were the exact reverse of what people experienced from healing through the power of the Holy Spirit. Again, more of this death and ghosts and superstition. Had the pleasure of going away with the Edinburgh University Philosophy Society, and I joined them and very, very much enjoyed being a part of them. Very welcoming, friendly people. But when I went away for their kind of house party, it was held on Halloween at Roslin Chapel. You're probably familiar with Roslin Chapel from Dan Brown and the Freemasonry associations there. And even in meetings of the Philosophy Society, the leader we'd meet in a pub, we'd discuss something, and the leader would say, I'm now going to go outside and do some fire dancing, and pull out some fire poi, and in the middle of the street start waving them around and doing some pagan things there. And we find an interesting division in culture now, where Christianity is very much being driven to the margins of society, and paganism is being embraced. One of the interesting things I find is often I'm speaking to people about my faith, and people will say, Christianity, a load of rubbish, no evidence for it. And then at the same time, they'll be embracing something pagan, where where I'd say there'd be even less evidence from a rational basis for that being true. Last year, the Pagan Federation held its Scottish conference at Edinburgh University, but the move enraged the Christian Union, which accused the university of double standards after banning one of its events, which outlined the dangers of homosexuality. And so you had a situation where the university was opening the doors for one set of philosophies, but closing its doors for another. And this is a quote from historian Arnold Toynbee. It's not a quote, it's a writing about it. Historian Arnold Toynbee was educated at Winchester and New College, Oxford, and became a professor of the University of London. He concluded that society's creative energy is tied to the control of its sexual drives. Sexual self-control is linked directly to a national strength and accomplishment. Lack of self-control with national weakness and deterioration. Toynbee's research indicated that of history's 21 greatest civilizations, 19 perished from internal moral corruption, not from external enemies. And I'd maybe make the case that that's something that we're on the brink of in our nation at the moment. I don't know if you watch the news and you see year after year the statistics for sexual health among young people, how chlamydia is rising, abortion is rising, year upon year, families breaking down. And again, there's Richard Dawkins. He says that Darwin, it changed forever our view of the world and our place in it. And I'd agree with Dawkins on that one. If we've just come from molecules which have randomly fallen together in us. There's no